Do you think it's possible to travel the world when making minimum wage or close to it? Hi, I'm Anna from Be Free and Travel, and I'm here to tell you today 3 ways how you can travel the world even if you make minimum wage. So, how am I able to tell you this? Well, I used to be an early childhood teacher for years and years and years, and I started traveling the world as an early childhood teacher making barely more than minimum wage. And I have found a lot of different ways to make travel very affordable, and I have found ways to make it work in my life. So I'm going to share 3 ways today to make it possible for you as well. Number 1 has to do with budgeting and saving. And I think that you need a savings tool, especially when you're someone who makes minimum wage. I remember going over my expenses and my budget, just poring over it like time and time again, just trying to figure out like where can I save money? Because when your paycheck is that small and expenses feel way bigger than the paycheck, it can definitely be a challenge to figure out how can I save some money. And one tool that I have now that I wish I had back then is the Qapital savings app. So it's an automatic savings tool, and there are a lot of different rules that you can set on there for how to save money automatically where you're like not even thinking about it. And the one way that I think even a minimum wage worker can manage to save money is the roundup rule. And I think start small. I think start by rounding up to the next $1. So what the app does, every purchase you make with your checking account, any transaction that happens on there, it will round up to the next $1 and it'll save the difference to your travel savings account. So if you spend $5 on a purchase, it is going to round up to $6. That extra $1 is going to go right to your Qapital savings app account. And let's say you spent $10.12 on something, it's going to round up and the next 88 cents is going to go right to your travel savings account. And I was really excited by this tool when I first started using it. I was checking it all the time to see how things were building up. But over time, I've just pretty much forgotten about it altogether. And I check it only periodically. And I'm actually always shocked by how much more it has grown without me even thinking about it. So I think that is one way that even a minimum wage worker can afford to save money, just very small increments at a time, and get you used to it without even really noticing it. Number 2, I think it is a great idea to utilize points and miles and the credit system. So if you're unfamiliar with credit cards and how to earn free travel basically with them, there's a lot of ways you can do it, but again, starting small, I would say starting with one travel credit card. Knowing what your credit score is first is crucial. Knowing that you have decent enough credit to be approved for a travel credit card. And then you just have to make sure that you're able to spend. Usually these travel credit cards come with like a welcome bonus. So if you spend X amount of dollars on it within the first 3 or 4 months, they all vary a little bit based off of the credit card and the offer, the current offer on these cards. But you just have to be aware of what that spending limit is and know that you can hit that spending limit so you get the bonus miles. And that part is very, very important. But this is one of the biggest ways that me as a former minimum wage worker, how I was able to start traveling the world. Because again, if I couldn't save money as easily, this was one way I could save. I could spend what I normally spent. I'm not getting into debt here, just, when I go buy my groceries or I put gas in my car or whatever it is that I need to make, a purchase for, using that travel credit card instead of your debit card, which you might be used to using now. Just swapping that out for your travel credit card instead. You still spend the same. That is the most important part. You're not spending more than what you normally do, but you're earning points and miles for it. And I did that for years as a way to travel when I really didn't have a lot of extra income to put aside for my travels. And it even resulted in me in 2017, I went to 3 different continents, and those flights were all paid for with points and miles. I paid very little cash. You pay, when booking a flight with points and miles, you pay pretty much the taxes on it, the taxes and fees, which vary from country to country. Maybe it varies by airline, I'm not sure exactly, but I traveled to South America, to Asia, and to Europe that year, and some of those flights cost me maybe 20 some dollars. So I think that is a fantastic way for even minimum wage workers, especially if you live in the country, if you live in the US, this is really for you, because of you. This is how our credit system works. We have all these amazing offers for travel credit cards. I will provide a link in the description for my favorite beginner travel credit card. It's the one that I have kept for years and years and years. I've gone through other cards over time as well, but this one I always keep. So I'll provide a link to that as well if you're interested in signing up for your first travel credit card. The third way that even a minimum wage worker can travel the world is by utilizing free accommodation. And I know this might sound crazy. You're like, what? How can I stay somewhere for free? Well, first of all, going back to the last point, points and miles, you can also use those for hotel stays, or in Airbnb. There's different ways you can use points and miles, and you can use those for accommodation too. So that is option number one. But there are also a whole host of other options. There are sites like Trusted House Sitters, and what you do is you pay a one-time, pretty inexpensive fee, and you get access to their platform for a whole year, and you can book pet sitting gigs, basically. So you're gonna stay in someone's house and watch their pets. And they do have these kind of all over the world. There's definitely a lot in the US if you want to kind of like live a nomadic lifestyle, like that sort of thing. I know people who have done that and saved a ton of money. So you could even use that as a savings tool in order to save money for travel. Maybe you kind of start by booking these house sits. So you're saving money on accommodation, just your daily expenses, so that when it's time to leave the country, you have money saved up for that. There's also options like couch surfers. There's people all over the world on this platform. Some people get sketched out thinking like, oh, I can't stay in a stranger's house and stuff like that. But if you get to know these people, there's tons of people on this platform. So many people all over the world have used this platform safely, I might add. And while you might be sketched out by it, initially, it really, if you're open to it, experiences like that, staying with a local, it can be a really beautiful experience where you automatically are kind of part of the local community. You already have someone who can help teach you about the culture. Maybe you'll share a meal with them, whatever it might be. They're able to offer you more insight. And if you're staying for free, then also that's great for your bank account. That allows you to travel if you can't otherwise do it. If you don't have as much money to also spend on accommodations, then again, maybe you use your saved money for the experiences that you want to do while you travel. You're spending your money on the food, etc. So using something like couch surfers is another great way to save on accommodations. And there's also programs like Workaway, where you can get volunteer gigs, essentially, from anything from maybe spending a few hours a week helping at a hotel or a hostel, or there's a whole host of other opportunities. Maybe teaching, it could be farming, it could be social media, it could be any and everything under the sun. Just look on these websites like Workaway and you'll find a ton of different opportunities. And usually you stay for free in exchange for doing a few hours of work every week. So this can be another great way to already be part of a local community, and you get a very different experience than just being a tourist, staying in a hotel with other tourists and only going and doing the things that tourists do. You kind of get a different view of the country and the city that you're staying in. So I think opportunities like these are great for minimum wage workers and anyone and everyone else who wants to be a budget traveler, who doesn't want to spend a lot of money or who can't spend a lot of money on travel. I think these are 3 fantastic ways that you can travel even if you make minimum wage.